Hey guys, welcome back to the channel with more of The Expanse. This is Season 1, Episode 6, and I can't believe we're already on the back half of Season 1. It feels like we're getting through these really quickly. Things seem to have picked up after the first two episodes. The third episode got better, and then the fourth and fifth were super good for me. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next with Holden and the crew on the Rocinante, how they're going to deal with Fred Johnson. Curious about how Miller is going to go forward with his investigation on Julie Mao and what exactly happened to him, how everybody just like some guys just jumped him, and is it related to Kothari? Because Kothari got his partner. And then I'm also interested in what what's his face is going to do. Havelock, like, is he going to heal up and rejoin the force? What's the fate of him and Gia? Yeah, a lot of questions. Excited to see what happens next. We haven't actually right now. I'm seeing on the screen. This looks like New York City. So I guess we're going to get some time back on Earth. So catch up with Christian and everybody else. But yeah, let's get started. If you want to check out the full episode, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. But yeah, let's get started.
What's sheep dip?
I wonder if they have ice cream in the snack shop.
So easily distracted. Oh, kids.
I do my patriotic duty by screwing over Fred Johnson. Isn't that enough?
How's your son, Esteban? He's up for parole soon.
You're really gonna play that card?
Yikes.
No games, no subterfuge. Just straight through the jugular.
Damn.
You know why I quit the intel desk?
So I wouldn't have to deal with you.
Tell anymore. If I was still working for the good guys.
I'll go get the ice cream. You make the phone call.
She is ruthless.
James Holden, son of a bitch.
Stay where you are.
You either some kind of genius, Mr. Holden, or you the luckiest dipshit in the solar system.
I have half a platoon of pissed off Martian Marines who are just itching for some payback.
As a Corvette-class Martian frigate that typically cruise 30, I only see two of you.
Oh boy. Why would you? Why would you? Why would you?
Hey! You can't do that to him.
He's in charge of this?
He's Star Helix. We're going to have a nice long talk, you and I. How long depends on you.
What?
Hurry up, or you'll be back stealing water on Ceres. You street rat.
We're going back to our ship now.
I'm afraid you can't go back to the ship.
Sounds like he doesn't like goodbyes.
I'm taking control of the Tachi right now.
The hell you are.
Right there!
Holden, tell the butcher to call off his men, or I'll have Alex vent his bloody station.
Sir, we have a problem.
Ooh.
How do you care so much what happened to this girl?
Take my job very seriously.
You are the station joke. We are fighting for something precious here, Miller.
Sure. A fatter percentage of the docks.
You even think like an Earther. I am talking about independence.
Yeah. With you as governor, it's a great idea. You know, that Scopuli disaster is a dead fish on your doorstep.
You keep missing the point.
That's why you gotta make the Mao case disappear. Why you gotta sacrifice her.
Sabaka, I can't believe I didn't see it before. You're in love with Julie Mao.
I mean, she seems like a great woman, but you've never even met her. I don't understand. Okay.
You locked down the net?
Yeah.
Then why is my money floating away? Sabang!
Stupid good for nothing rat.
I provided a ship for an OPA recon mission out of Ceres, which disappeared. The name of that ship is the Scopuli. That's right. I need this frigate to retrieve the lone survivor, Lionel Polanski.
Who?
It's a code name.
I'll pick up your operator.
Too valuable as a witness. If you get killed...
The other three saw just as much as I did. They'll stay and be your witnesses. We'll all give sworn statements.
We're gonna have to AO-66 you. When you arrive on Euros, your cargo will be held under lien until your fines are paid in full.
Oh, come on, there must be something.
Leave him alone.
We are just trying to feed our families, okay?
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do for you. Absolutely nothing. Oh. Leave him alone! He didn't mean. Hey, I went easy on you before, but now you're not gonna pass through the restricted zone on your way home, boss man.
Go around talking to fuel, we'll die for sure.
That's your problem, not mine.
How do you know he's not going to space you the second you get out
Because
there?
you're gonna rig the Rossi so it only responds to my command.
For God's sake. Look, I don't need to trust Fred Johnson. Why are you so hell-bent, homie?
Because this is my fault.
Here it comes.
I logged the distress call in the camp.
Amos,
I'm glad we cleared this up.
I knew. Gordon did the right thing.
Why didn't you tell me? You were afraid of me. You should have said something.
Damn.
She put herself in your hands because she couldn't see the blood on him. Just like your sister. Is that right? Wasn't she like 15 when you let her die out on the belt?
I had
Killed
three
her.
other sisters to think about.
He killed her.
Our family was starving, and that makes me a monster. There was no script to bury him. I came to realize that I have millions of brothers and sisters in the belt.
And they all
I
have mouths to
even count
feed.
you among them. You are everything she despised. A belter who preys on his own kind. But voila.
Well,
Die as you lived.
Chuck. Here you go. Funk. Funk.
No!
God!
Oh.
Get out! Uncle!
He's a private citizen, Christian. He can't go squeezing his berries.
I politely asked to borrow his spy on Tycho.
Politely.
Why are you interested in Fred Johnson?
The OPA smuggler we captured was carrying stealth composites. That's not a coincidence.
The OPA killed your son. You sure this isn't personal?
Didn't know that
You're
before.
damn right it's personal.
All right.
I'm Daniel.
Not interested, Daniel. Tell me, how do they treat you here?
The others say it's better than most.
I grew up in places like this.
Oh,
You grew up.
Wow.
I wouldn't have figured that. It's an honest living. It's more honest than most. And you can tell a lot about a place by how they treat their people. Fair enough.
Flying the Rocinante back there.
That was just about the best feeling I've ever had.
Rigged to fail safe, right?
They try to access any areas that they shouldn't, and the Rosie's core will self-destruct.
The same thing he did to that guy now happens to him. What's gonna happen? How's he gonna get out of this? There we go.
Someday, things gonna change.
We'll be okay, Uncle. We'll be okay.
The man's gonna stand up.
To shed. Always generous. Thoughtful. Sometimes a whiny little prick. I hope no one there needs medical attention.
Oh my god. His eyes. Recording.
I've never killed anyone before.
You'll be all right.
Oh, let me see.
But it wasn't the blood or the iron smell of it that got me.
Who was there? A little girl. In the window.
What?
Watch.
Damn.
My advice is you just forget it. You make yourself forget it.
Appreciate that. It's terrible advice.
That's what I was thinking. I just didn't want to say it. I was just like,
You're late.
They're here.
What is this?
I'll spare us a speech.
The ship's ready.
We'll bring your Lionel Polanski home, if he's out there. In return, I want you to help me find someone. No questions asked.
The person who she didn't get to say goodbye to, I guessed that it was like a daughter, but come on, tell us a secret already. She won't like tell anybody about it, not even Amos.
We need to get a sample of Phoebe. Now.
You tell anyone about this?
Just you.
What about this? Copies?
Is she about to destroy it? I was like, is she trying to cover something up?
Erase Detective Miller's case files and cancel all his clearances.
Ooh.
You're fired.
Dolls. In his pocket.
Help Mr. Miller find the door. If he gives you any problems, feel free to shoot him.
Alright guys, another great episode. I feel like there's a lot of things that are very fun to speculate about in a sci-fi show. And this episode starts with Christian asking that private citizen to have his spy report to her on Fred Johnson, and he pushes back. Super interesting that a private citizen would have a spy in the first place. And eventually, like, she threatens him with the fact that his son is going on parole soon. If I didn't know Christian better, I would think, oh, like, she's offering to expedite the kid's parole and help him, like, live his life. But pretty sure she's implying that she could make it so that he stays in jail or something. And she eventually does get to use that spy because of the person she talked to later. And one thing I was really disappointed in this episode, I was hoping it wasn't the case that Anderson Dawes was the one who took in Miller. Like, he has a solid point that Belters deserve some kind of justice. Like, they should be in charge of their own home. And I don't know enough about the world to say whether or not it's possible without violence, so I can't condone his actions, but I understand where he's coming from. And if Miller wasn't with him, I guess he was against him in this case. Miller does a good job playing along with Dawson until Dawson starts looking at his hat and Miller, like, pushes his buttons to distract him away from the chip. The idea that Miller is in love with Julie Mao is a little weird to me. Like, from what I hear, she's a super awesome woman, but, like, in love. I don't think he knows about... I can understand, like, loving the idea of her, but I don't think he loves her. We do get some backstory on Anderson Dawes. How he killed his sister who was too sick because they had 3 other sisters to feed and take care of. He's become someone who has to make that choice, and I mean, something is clearly wrong with the system if someone is forced to make that choice. And yeah, like I said, I get before, I can't condone his actions, but I understand. Super fascinating character. And he gets Miller sent back to the airlock. This time Miller is the one down in the airlock instead of the one almost causing hypoxia in that guy. That was hard to watch. What I didn't see coming was the fact that Shadid had been paid off by Anderson. Like, that loyalty can be bought that easily. Like, I'm not sure exactly when she was bought off either. Like, did she put Miller on the case because she thought that he'd run to a dead end and give up because he's the station joke? or did she get paid off later and then try to pull him off the case after that? Yeah, I'm curious about that. And Moss, is that Muss wound up saving Miller at the very last second. He was probably about to, very, very close to dying. And then we also have Diogo, who was helping his uncle with a salvage run. His uncle tells him to hurry up or he'll be back stealing water on Ceres. So I think it might be the same guy Miller cuffed and then let go. I'm not entirely sure, but they get approached by Martians who just... it's very, very similar to like the racial profiling in our country right now, United States. I guess I am, in some ways, I'm lucky to be Asian just because whenever I've ridden in my dad's car, we've never been stopped once. The first time I rode in a car with my Hispanic friend, or Latino friend rather, we were stopped because we had a broken taillight. Of course, after my friend actually pulled out his wallet, and he has an uncle who works in the NYPD, so he flashed the NYPD thing. And then they let us go. And then after they drove off, my friend stopped again and checked the broken taillight. Nothing was wrong, obviously. They just stopped us because he was Latino. These Martians just wanted to like start something. And I mean, to be fair, like, yes, the license was expired, but the punishment doesn't meet the crime. Like, you're just... Yeah, I don't know. And then afterwards, they're trying to steal his water. Like, that's his survival. That's... Like, Martians can get water pretty easily. The Belters, for them, it's more valuable than gold, and they're just... It was hard to watch. And I understand the uncle and what he did. He threw all those rocks at... A man has to stand up. He threw all those rocks at the Martians. I don't think the Martians got hurt at all, really. Did they? But he leaves Diogo out there to be found. I don't know why they would show that unless it's like world building, like for world. I don't know if they show that for world building purposes or if Diogo is going to be found and he's going to have an impact on the story, but we'll see. And then Fred Johnson, Holden, and Amos have a fun little standoff, but they wind up having to... No, they don't really trust each other, but they're having to work together at least. It seemed like Naomi and Alex really had them over a barrel. They bypassed like the weapons shutdown and were like about to... They could have avoided the entire station, apparently. But yeah, Fred Johnson tells us that he's responsible for sending the Scopuli out as a recon mission, and that they have someone codenamed Lionel Polanski sending a distress signal, which, yeah, codename. So is that Julie Mao? Like, she was the only one left on the ship, or maybe the distress signal was sent. No, they said they were the only one left on the Scopuli, so it probably is Julie Mao. And then it finally came out. Holden is the one who answered the distress signal, or who logged the distress signal so that they'd have to answer it. And I'd say the repercussions were lower than I thought. Like when Holden was about to say it, like Naomi looked over to Amos, like clearly worried about what he would do. And he realizes what it means for her not to tell him. Like, definitely feels like there could have been a little bit of a rift between them. Like, he trusted her always, but he's realizing it's not two ways. Like, he feels like she kept the truth from him to keep him in check because she was afraid of him and what he would do if he found out. And I think he knew that he probably would have acted out in a certain way if he had found out back then. And that may be a bit of self-reflection for him. But there was also a scene in this episode that really made me appreciate Amos a lot more. Like, first, he turned down the sex worker, but then he asks how they're being treated. And any character who shows some concern about sex workers gets a plus in my book, especially with how much we're screwing them over in real life. Like, the U.S., the government, like, tends to lump all sex work together with sex trafficking, and it's, like, not the same thing. Like, with the SESTA-FOSTA bill, like, it was meant to target sex traffickers by holding websites accountable for any sex trafficking that happens on their site. And the thing is, people don't sex traffic on the internet. Most of it is, or not nearly as much as the people who use it for actual sex, like consensual sex work. And yeah, that shut down personals on Craigslist, Tumblr banning sexual content, and these are the places where like sex workers get to go to like vet their clients. They do it online. So now they have to go out on the street and endanger themselves, which in turn has led to more exploitation, more sex trafficking, like actual sex trafficking, and then more death and violence towards sex workers. So yeah, it's genuinely horrendous that laws like these pass and hurt a lot of these people who are like worse off in society. So yeah, like in these times, seeing Amos show concern for their well-being like endeared him to me. And yeah, I mean, and from his conversation with Alex, it seems like he has done sex work himself. And it's not clear if he said he grew up in a place like this, and it's not clear if he started when he was a kid or not, which if he did, yikes, that's not okay, definitely. That would count as sex trafficking, but he seems to have a very enlightened view about sex work. So, but yeah, everybody was able to stay together, the crew, the 4 people. I thought they might have like extra crew, but it was just those 4. I kind of thought they'd get separated and then it would be a very big deal when they got back together again. But it also felt very cool to see them all decide to do this together. Once Alex said that he never had a feeling as good as flying the Rocinante, I was like, yeah, they're staying together. And I guess the naming of the ship in the first place, last episode, probably should have tipped me off that they're gonna, like, this is their ship, this is them, this is, yeah. And Naomi to me is clearly staying because I'm not sure exactly why she's staying, but my first guess would be because of Holden. She feels like she doesn't want to just sit around and wait. She did say that there's nothing to do on the ship because it's like running perfectly, so she's like an engineer. She's just like, but I don't know. I feel like she's staying because of like her and Holden get along, and she wanted to help. I don't know. She wanted to help. Someone is in danger and she wants to help, essentially, instead of sitting on her butt. And Amos is probably coming still because of Naomi, even though he might have felt a little hurt that he's the kind of person that she couldn't trust. I don't know if there's going to be like any self-improvement there going on after that, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Yeah, very happy the crew stayed together, and it'll be interesting to see if they're able to save Julie Mao. Miller, now that he's off the police force, or the security force, maybe he tries to go after Julie Mao as well, since his hands are no longer tied. I'll be curious to see if they intersect at any point. The Holden's group, the Rocinante, and Miller. But yeah, enjoy this episode. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. My voice is dying out just now. And yeah, if you want to check out the full reaction, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. And the next episode, if you're watching on YouTube, is already up there too. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.